Good morning, everybody. I'm Dyanne Dumas. I'm so happy you joined me with Get Healthy and Stay Balanced. And I hope you enjoyed that little piece. That actually was played on my untuned piano. So it didn't sound so bad, but it sounds better now. So I might have to re-record it since my piano recently got tuned. Welcome to, as I said, to Get Healthy and Stay Balanced. Just a little bit about myself. This is week number 7. The town of Oakville has been running virtual programming, and there's a 10-week session or group of sessions, and this is week 7. So it's been really wonderful to come each week, and I'm bringing a little bit of a new twist or a new angle of how to stay healthy and get balanced in your life. Lots of food, nutritional tips. We've covered many different subjects, and today we're going to talk about our emotions and our brain, and I do have a nice cookie recipe for you as well. So we're going to jump right into today's subject. And you've probably heard that success is 80% showing up, but I can elaborate on that saying it's 100% success if you show up with a good attitude and a right attitude. And obviously you do, because you're here this morning. So I've set you up well. I've pushed the pause button. I've started your day with a little bit of calming piano music. And you know, it's so important that we take those pauses during the day just to breathe and just to maybe listen to a piece of music or look outside the window, or better yet, go for a walk and just enjoy nature, because we live such busy lives. Our to-do lists never seem to stop growing. Or you might have the honey to-do list for your partner, your significant other, and those never seem to get completely filled. So we have to make the choice to push the pause button and just take a moment and just to enjoy and reflect and be grateful for what we have. And because we have such a turbulent time right now with, COVID, we need all the more to find the calm and to find the gratitude and look inward and around us throughout what we have to be appreciative of as we survive and carry forward during these challenging times. So let's continue with today about emotions. And our brain is the faculty of our thoughts. And it becomes apparent that the type of food that we put into our bodies does affect our brain, and therefore affects our emotions, our emotional state. Like the computer, the brain is subject to limitations. If you put garbage in, garbage is going to come out. And the standard diet of today is definitely filled with a lot of garbage, refined sugars, bad oils, processed food, GMO components in the food. And so our bodies and our cells cannot function properly when we're feeding our bodies with those kinds of garbage. And eating healthy is a choice. Sometimes we feel that it's, thank you, Daniel, for putting the slide on. Sometimes we feel that it's really difficult. But the difficult part is really, I think, making the decision, because once you make the decision, then you will find ways. And I'm here to offer simple ways so that it's not so challenging to eat healthy. It's about choice. So looking at this first slide, every bite you take is either fighting disease, because your body will fight disease. Our body is magnificent. It's created with the ability to heal itself. Or you're going to feed disease. So if we look at the left, here we have vegetables, we have our greens, we have fruits, all natural things that come from our garden. They're not processed, they're not in a box. We can take these, we can eat them raw, we can slightly steam them, we can blend them, put them in a smoothie, we can even bake with them. And they're natural, and they're found in the outer perimeter of your grocery store. And that's where you want to shop, is the outer perimeter, where you find all the healthy foods and produce. On the right, you find the processed food, the one that's already ready-made, lots of preservatives, things that are very unhealthy and harmful for our cells. And fast food, fast track to disease. So thank you for that slide. Proper fuel, as in living foods, along with proper elimination, fresh air, sunlight, exercise, and rest, give our bodies what they need to be healthy and to be in balance. And it provides our body to detoxify. If our body's unhealthy, our mind also will be unhealthy. So it's not just our physical body that doesn't feel well, it's our mind. We'll have fog brain, we'll be confused, we'll be weak, we'll be very unsettled in our emotions, and these are not things that really give us great joy and pleasure and sustain our energy for life's tasks and challenges, because we know that the challenges never stop. We're always faced every day with other challenges or new challenges, and we have to have the right mindset and the healthy mind to be able to tackle everything that life throws at us. So our brain is dependent upon the quality of our diet, and our interest and ability to take control of our diet is our decision. So our brain itself is a very vulnerable organ, and we know that because it has a protective shell, the cerebrum, and that shell around our brain protects us from any brain injury. And that cerebrum is part of the brain. It's responsible for the thought, the learning, moral, and social behavior. And it's the first part of the brain to shut down when it's not being fed proper glucose to the brain. So it's very, very vulnerable. And it's important that the glucose that we're giving our brain is efficient, effective, and we're not giving it the sucrose, the fast-acting sugars, which actually kind of mess us up. Because of the specialization of each cell, the brain lacks many of the self-defense mechanisms present in lesser organs. It can't store energy. It can only survive a few minutes without oxygen, and it decays very rapidly under adverse conditions. When something's wrong with the body, the brain is the first to suffer. And because it's so vulnerable to its molecular environment, it's mostly directly affected by diet. So I found that really interesting when I was reviewing my notes as a health minister of the importance, because we always kind of think about our organs, more of our internal organs, and we don't necessarily think about the brain and how important it is, and it's the most vulnerable, as we just heard. The brain is fueled by glucose or blood sugar. So when we provide our bodies with high quality fuel, our body then can send the brain cells and the steady supply of fuels to work properly. And that fuel is glucose, which the body makes out of carbohydrates from the food we eat. So here's a picture of our brain. And what's really interesting, there's a picture of a walnut. And the walnut is one nut that actually is very, very effective for brain health. It has a high concentration of DHA, which is a type of omega-3 fatty acid. So it is one of the top foods for the brain. And it's interesting that it kind of looks like a brain too, much like the sweet potato looks like the pancreas, which actually is good for the pancreas, and tomatoes for the heart. So all these fruits and vegetables, they resemble the organ that they're most effective for. And you can research, there's a whole bunch of them, and I find that fascinating as well. Within the last 8 decades of human history, there's been a radical change in diet. The change is the consumption of white sugar, and I know last week we talked about that as well. And sucrose is its chemical name. So it's a simple, highly refined carbohydrate. It enters the blood level very fast. It causes a spike in your blood sugar level, and it causes great harm to the body. It actually affects all the organs in your body. And what happens when you have that simple carb, that high fast acting carb, it shoots your glucose level up really high, and then it brings you down really fast as well. So you have a rapid decline, and that's why you feel very tired after. So we want to avoid that and avoid foods that have that simple white sugar component to it. And it's interesting that at the beginning of this century, the average consumption of white sugar was about 4 pounds per person per year. And that to me even sounds like a lot. 4 pounds of sugar per person each year. Now our sugar intake has increased to over 170 pounds per person per year. That is, and you're thinking, well, there's no way I don't put that much sugar in my coffee. And you don't. I know you don't. Hopefully you're not putting any in, but it's not really the sugar bowl. The majority of it, 70%, comes from prepared processed foods. So in all those boxed foods you find in the interior part in your grocery store, they are packed with sugars. And a lot of us don't think of that. We just kind of see the pizza and we see the whatever it is, and we think of it as food, but it is filled with sugar. So when you eat white sugar or a food rich in sucrose, virtually the entire load enters the bloodstream within a few minutes, and this causes a malfunction of the organs which regulate your blood sugar level, creating highs and lows. And I just mentioned that. And that's what you want to avoid. The lack of good blood sugar starves every cell in the body, leading to a feeling of weakness. And the cells of the brain are starved as fuel is not, and because it's not being fed the right kind of fuel, so the brain cells are starved as well. And that's why you get a little bit foggy, or you get a sugar high and you're not thinking straight. And then you end up shopping and spending too much money. No, I'm just joking. But it's important to always be in the right state of mind. So important levels of glucose in your blood can compromise our brain function. So highs or lows affect our brain function. And they can also affect our memory, our learning capacity, and our mood. When we eat fast-releasing sugars, so where do we find these fast-releasing sugars? You're thinking, well, sugar's everywhere, so what do I eat? Well, we just kind of want to, or what I want to do is teach you or help you realize that you can eat the same foods, but just a different form of it. For instance, fast-releasing sugars are found in white bread, so let's not have white bread. Let's have whole wheat bread, or better yet, whole grain bread. Sweets and breakfast cereals, they're filled with sugars. So make your own breakfast cereal. Let's have some soaked steel cut oats, which I taught you a few weeks back how to make. Very simple breakfast. You can put some homemade granola on top. You can slice some, have sliced almonds. You can put some pumpkin seeds in there, even some dried cranberries. You can make your own cereal that's healthy and that doesn't have all the high sugars. When we have those foods, those sweets, those breakfast cereals that are high in sugar, we create stress in the body. And this releases cortisol. And we've heard about that hormone cortisol. And what it does is it causes emotional depression. Slow releasing carbs, such as whole grains and vegetables, they slowly release. Those are carbohydrates as well, but they're slowly released into your bloodstream. And therefore, you maintain normal levels of glucose in your blood. And that's really important. So when you think about the reaction these foods have on your body, and the thing is, we don't see it, but we do feel it. And we feel it in our head, and we also feel it in our bodies. So let's switch a little bit into talking about our mental attitude. So we talked that the food that we're feeding our bodies affects the function of the brain as well as other internal organs. And now let's talk about how that then affects our mental attitude. So our thoughts are also a really big part of our total health. And when our body's not functioning properly, we experience negative emotions. Negative emotions, some of the most toxic ones are bitterness, resentment, and unforgiveness. And I'll say it again, bitterness, unforgiveness, and resentment. Those emotions are the 3 deadly emotions that people can carry in their body. And what you're thinking, well, okay, I kind of know that. I kind of agree with that. I know it's not good for me. But let's really understand, why is it not good for you? So these emotions actually prevent your body from detoxing. So they actually cause you to hold the toxins into your body. And the toxins want to be released, especially from the liver and the gallbladder. So when that doesn't happen, this buildup of toxins zaps your energy, and it stops you from, as I mentioned, cleansing and healing itself. See, your body always wants to do its natural thing. Think about if you cut your finger bleeds, but then it stops bleeding. The body naturally knows how to have the cell growth and how to heal itself. We are created so wonderfully, and we have our bodies that actually aid us in cleansing. When you're sick, what happens? You have a cold. Your body wants to get rid of it. You blow your nose. You cough up mucus. You have a fever. All that means is your body is fighting that infection. It knows what to do. But when we don't allow it to detox, then it comes back and it's internalized, and it causes, that's where it does the most damage. So our emotions are really connected to that. When we don't release and we don't forgive and we don't let go, we're holding those toxic emotions in. And as I just read, we have a physical result, a negative physical impact on our bodies from that. Our immune system is also really directed to our thoughts. So definitely now we want strong immune systems. And we want to be able to fight viruses. We'll never really be able to avoid viruses, but if you have a healthy immune system, your body can fight it. So our emotions play a part in that as well. We want to be clean in our head and peaceful in our head. And our bodies want to be free from anxiety and free from disease and discomfort. So one of the most powerful agents of healing is learning to control your mind. It's powerful, and it will really impact you powerfully as a person. So what can we do, looking at the part of the emotional part? We talked about the healthy food choices, making sure that we're not eating high sugars that are processed foods that really affect our bodies in negative ways. But let's look at what we can do besides knowing that we have to release unforgiveness and resentment. But what can we do to actually help our emotional state? Well, we can practice meditation or prayer. So taking time to just really go inward. And I like to think of maybe guiding you into gratefulness. Really think about, focus on the things that are really good in your life. And that will put you more in a positive mindset and more at ease. Be careful what you speak. So the words that come out of your mouth directly affect your emotional state, and they really affect those around you. So sometimes when we feel anger and we speak too fast, and then we regret what we've said, and it's harder to, well, we really can't really take back the words. I use the description like this. If you take something and you write it on a sheet of paper and it's the wrong thing, you take the eraser and you try to rub it out, and you get rid of some of it, but there's always a little trace of what's there. And that's the problem with not being careful with your words or guarding your mouth, is that you could say something that's hurtful to someone, and even though you didn't mean it really and you want to take it back, it's still there in that other person's mind. They still remember it. And so we don't want that to happen in the first place. We can also choose to be around positive people. And we know that people influence us, and their emotional state affects ours. So choose your friends and people that you meet. Choose them wisely, people that bring life and energy to you rather than people that are toxic, that draw and take away your energy. And finally, you can think positive thoughts on purpose. And yes, you can do that. You can choose what you're thinking. Think about that. We have the ability to choose our thoughts. Now, I'm not saying what comes into your head you have control of. We will all have positive and negative thoughts that come into our minds, but we get to say, does that resonate with me? Do I really want to think of that? Or is that just something that doesn't really serve me and I'm going to let it go and think of something positive? We do have that power, and it's a matter of first recognizing that you have that power to choose your thoughts. And then it takes practice. If you're a negative person, your mind will gravitate to negative thoughts more quickly, but I can guarantee you that you can practice, and the first step is being aware of what you're meditating on. And meditating is just basically, giving your attention to. Worry is a form of meditation. Worry is meditation in the negative. So let's change that into the positive. So finally, the body does heal itself. We all have within us the ability to fight infections. But what we expose ourselves into the environment and what we eat and what we do to ourselves emotionally can affect the years of our lives. So we want to make sure that we give ourselves life, and that we are doing things that are going to give us better quality of life. Last part of this is exercise. So we're moving now down to physically doing something that's also going to help our emotional, mental state. So exercise can be vigorous. It can just be a walk. I think it was the week before last, I did rebounding, where you jump on a rebounder, which really helps your lymphatic system clear itself and detoxify. There's so many different ways you can exercise, and we don't have to exercise for an hour a day. It can be 10 minutes. It can be 5 minutes. Just something that's going to actually release those endorphins, the brain's natural healer, into your body. It makes you feel good. It energizes you, and it gives you a boost to help you through the rest of your day. And it changes your mental attitude and your focus. So adopting a new lifestyle with good quality air, good rest, good thoughts, good food, good relationships, a good outlet. These are all things that we're capable of doing to help us with a better lifestyle and getting healthier and staying balanced. We want our emotions to be balanced. When our emotions are not balanced, everybody knows, especially those closest to you. So really important to keep that in check for yourself and for others. Let's talk a little bit about taking it into a practical application. I'm going to share with you a wonderful cookie recipe that I did this weekend. But I want to talk a little bit about the sugar replacement, because you're saying, well, if there's sugar and I shouldn't be using sugar, what can I be using instead of sugar? So on my cookies today, I have a icing sugar that I sprinkled on after they were baked. And this product is called Swerve. Let's see if you can get a good picture of it. I should have maybe taken a picture of it, but it looks like that. And what's great about Swerve is that it measures cup for cup. So this is the icing sugar version, but you can get the regular sugar version, and also the brown sugar is something new. So if there's something that you want more of that molasses taste, you can get that one as well. As I mentioned, it measures the same cup for cup. There is no bitter aftertaste. It's great for baking, cooking, and even sweetening your favorite beverages. It's non-GMO, and it's derived from fruits and vegetables. So it's such a healthy alternative that you can use it anywhere that you would use sugar normally. So here I have my non-alcoholic drink, my mock cocktail, And what I like to sip on, especially during the holiday seasons, is some pure cranberry juice. And it's quite tart, so it's not from concentrate. So you want to make sure that you're not getting a sugar laden drink. You want to have the pure juice, and you put probably an ounce or an ounce and a half in a glass, and you can fill it with water. Or what I like to do, I like this carbonated water. I use Le Croix. I think that's how you pronounce it. Somebody can correct me if I mispronounce that. And I pour it in my glass, and I have a nice holiday drink. And it's healthy for me, especially for cranberries are really good for your bladder. It helps prevent bladder infections, and it's just really good for your immune system. And it's a great alternative to drinking lots of alcohol. So especially if you're going to parties and you feel pressure that you have to, have a glass of wine, and you really don't want to, then you can definitely ask for cranberry. You can have a little bit of lime or lemon with it. Put it in a wine glass. This is the new wine glasses that are out there now, the tumblers. And you can be as festive as everybody else, but be healthier and feel good. And you can keep your mental clarity. Plus, you can drive everybody home after. Actually, you're not going to be driving anybody home. You're going to be in your home, but you get the point. So let's move on to my recipe of the day, of this week. And it's the Gooey chocolate chip Kringle cookie. And here is me making the cookies. And they were a little gooey, but it's a good gooey. So there's the end result. And by the way, that wonderful plate my daughter made in a pottery class that we did a few years back. So I have to show it off because I think it's so artistic and lovely. And it actually kind of distracts from the cookies themselves. But oh well, you get to see a beautiful plate. Okay, so the recipe is, actually, do we have the picture of the ingredients that we can put up? Or maybe it is not there. I'm not sure if
Do you mean the picture of the ingredients that you shared?
Yes.
It was just very small, so I typed so these are the ingredients here. I just made them a little larger so folks could see, because it was, I had to, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay. I just had a little visual. So let's
Oh,
look at
the picture of ingredients?
Yeah.
No, I did not receive that.
Oh, you
No.
didn't receive
Yeah.
that. Okay. Are you able to pull that up real quick if I sent it to you?
Sure, absolutely.
Let's see. I might have missed that one because I did take a picture of everything. Here it is, and I'm going to send it your way now. Because, the whole point of doing the programming is making this easy for you so that it isn't something where you feel overwhelmed or you are unable to do. It is something everybody can do. It's just about, for me, I think about substituting. Okay, so if I want to be healthier, I'm going to replace my sugar with something like Swerve, which is really erythritol. By the way, that is the ingredient that's in the Swerve, in case you were wondering what Swerve is. The sugar replacement is erythritol. Should be up in a second. And I'm going to take maybe the chips, the chocolate chips. And instead of having the high sugar content chocolate chips, I'm going to use something that's darker chocolate, which has less sugar in it. Or what I used were lily chips. And lily chips are sweetened with stevia. So I've cut down on my sugar in that respect. And I'm going to use real vanilla extract as opposed to the artificial one because I want the health benefits from the vanilla. I'm going to use a good fat. So instead of maybe pure butter, and I'm not saying butter is bad, but a healthy fat would be coconut oil. It's really, really healthy for you. So those are all ingredients that are in my cookies. And the picture of that will come up right away. And
Yeah,
you'll be able to see it.
I did receive it, so we're all good. I'm just going to pull it up now.
Okay, great.
It's funny, as soon as you want, Anytime someone like needs an email to come through immediately, it's like always,
Always delayed a bit.
yeah, it's always
And
gets
other times
lost in
it's fast.
space. I know.
Yeah, that's okay. I just think it helps us to see, hey, there's like 5 ingredients here in front of me, and this is easy. I have this stuff. And if you don't have some of it, you're going to add it to your pantry, and it's going to be a really good staple for you, because we don't need, when you buy boxed cookies, how many ingredients are in the boxed cookies? And a lot of the ingredients you can't even pronounce. Okay, so let's go from left to right. So there's the Swerve. There's the sugar replacement. As I mentioned, that is erythritol, and it comes from fruits and vegetables. It's derived from fruits and vegetables. Then I have the cacao powder. So lots of antioxidants in the cacao. And I have on the right erythritol sugar. So my Swerve on the left is the icing sugar. But as I mentioned earlier, it does come in the regular sugar form as well. But I used the Swerve. I didn't have the Swerve sugar replacement, so I used another brand, Whole Earth, which is erythritol. Same thing. They're just sugar replacements. And then I have my coconut oil, my virgin coconut oil, cold pressed, high quality coconut oil. I have real vanilla. I have baking soda. That's not the one I used, but the one I have is in a glass jar that just says baking soda. So I wanted to give you the visual of baking soda itself. So I used that one that I do use for cleaning my house as well. I have an egg, and I have my lily chips. So very simple ingredients. We all probably have most of this in our house, or maybe we don't have the sugar replacement yet, but hopefully you'll reach out and try it. And think about your kids, because when you're giving them high sugar, we're starting to see a lot of problems with kids and mental focus. The high sugar that they're eating from the white pasta and from the cookies and things is sending them into a real hyper mode. It's really hard for them to even sit still and concentrate. And they need to have steady glucose levels in their bodies, like we all do. So it's really important to start thinking about that, and teaching them healthier ways to live when they're younger, so that they can grow up adopting this way of life and using healthy whole ingredients. Okay, now we'll go to the recipe. So there are the ingredients, and the directions are, if you want to just flip back for a second, Daniel.
Sure, to the ingredients?
Yeah, let's go back
Certainly.
to that. Thanks. So I have the coconut oil at room temperature, and mine's solid. So often when there's certain recipes, it has to be melted. And if you do have to melt it, I just scoop out what I need into a pot, and I put it on very low heat on the stove, and it softens, becomes a liquid fairly quickly. In this recipe, you can keep it solid. So that's the good thing. It was pretty easy. Although mine isn't really, it's not, I don't keep my coconut oil in the fridge. So it's not solid where it's rock hard. I keep it in my pantry. So it's just kind of like dipping into maybe, I think the hardness of butter that's been sitting out in a butter keeper. It's that. So it's not super hard, but not liquid. The recipe here has maple sugar. So maple sugar is another healthier sugar compared to white sugar. I don't use sugar at all. I use the sugar replacement. So there is my erythritol. I have an egg. I have 1 teaspoon of real vanilla extract. I have half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of cacao or cocoa powder. So the cacao powder, lot of antioxidants in there for you. It's better than the cocoa powder because of the way it's processed. So even though it has caffeine, it's still a healthier version of the cocoa powder. Another alternative which I've talked about in the past sessions is carob powder. And Carob does not have any caffeine in it. So if that's a concern for you, you might want to look at that. Dark chocolate chips, the darker the better. 70% or darker is the healthier chocolate to have. And yes, I do eat chocolate. I eat 85% organic chocolate as a snack or as a little treat. Lily chips are sweetened with stevia, so they do not have any sugar in them. And then for the top, they had arrowroot or maple sugar to sprinkle on top. And I chose to use my Swerve sugar, icing sugar replacement. And I sprinkled that on top of the cookies. So you can go back to maybe a picture of directions. Yes. Okay, we're jumping around. So yeah,
sending me flying around. Where do you want me, Dyanne?
That's good. So there's another visual, how simple it is. We can all do this. And the nice thing about it is switch now to directions. You put everything into a bowl. So we're going to preheat the oven to 350. We're going to put the coconut oil and your sugar replacement or your maple sugar. You're going to mix that first with a spoon. Then you're going to crack your egg in and your vanilla. You're going to stir that. Then you're going to add the baking soda, the salt, and the powder, whether it's cacao or carob, and you're going to mix that and then stir in the chocolate chips. So it's a one bowl, which I love, real simple, mix with a big spoon, and then take it out, roll them into little balls, and then put it on your baking pan and then press down with your fingers or a fork if you like. And then you bake it for, does it say? Yep. 10 minutes. And definitely 10 minutes is enough. So they'll feel a little bit soft when you take them out, but when you allow them to cool for 5 or 10 minutes, they'll harden up a bit. And as soon as I pulled them out, I took a spoon and I put it into my sugar replacement icing sugar. And then I carefully sprinkled a little bit of that on top. And it just gives it a nice look. And it's just got a nice little icing sugar taste on top of the cookie. And that is it.
If anyone would like me to send the directions or these slides to them, feel free just to direct message or private message me in the chat your email address. Be happy to send that to you.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. So just to recap today, we talked about our brain and how our brain needs proper fuel because it is so affected by unhealthy foods and especially high sugar. It really affects our mental clarity and our emotions. So we really want to make the changes in our diet to promote healthier eating habits, and therefore have mental health. That's really important for ourselves and the rest of our organs as well. We also talked about our emotions and how our emotions are affected obviously by our food. So if our brain isn't healthy, it's going to affect our emotions. But besides our brain being healthy, we also have to on purpose choose healthier thoughts and a healthier well-being mentally. And that can be achieved by practice and thinking, what I like to coin it as thinking on purpose. So not just taking every thought that comes into your head, but choosing the ones that serve you well and thinking on purpose. And surrounding yourself with a good environment, just like you want to breathe in clean air. Nobody wants to breathe in pollution. So we don't want to breathe in the toxic energy from other people that are very toxic. So think about your relationships, choose your friends wisely. And if you do work in a toxic environment, be the light that you want to see in others. So you can lead by example, and you can choose to remain positive even in toxic environments or stressful situations. We have more power than we realize. And it's learning and recognizing and practicing that we become masters of our mind. And therefore, we get to have a better journey. So that's my show for today. I'd like to take up questions if there are any. I don't know how many are viewing or will view the episode later, but if you're online, please comments, questions. We have some time left to chat a bit. or else I'm going to make Daniel ask questions, or I'm going to ask Daniel some questions about how much water he's been
Oh my
consuming.
gosh. Okay, before someone asks a question, I will say, so I thought after the last time we spoke that the recommendation that one time about water was for like 10 liters. I tried to drink. It was almost 8 liters for a day. And I don't know, but I was not feeling good. I was like, my belly was cold. I felt like I was going to burst. I peed because I was counting how many times, like 11 times at work. It was crazy. This, I can't, like, I don't know. Maybe I was doing the math wrong, but like it was the most water. I felt like I was swimming, walking around.
So the goal, and this is, remember, with everything. So if I said to you, the goal for you, Daniel, is to be able to do 150 push-ups, you can't maybe physically do that right away, right?
Hey,
or
come
you're
on
going to
now.
end up, right? So you got to build your way up to it. So the goal is your body weight cut in half, right? So if you are, I think the example I had given was 100 and just going to flip my
Yeah.
notes here.
So I think because it was your body weight cut in half in cups of water, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and we said I was 190 pounds in half, so that is, oh boy, 9.5 cups of water. Yes.
Yeah, so an 8-ounce glass. So you probably are going to be drinking about
90.5 cups of water.
90,
Or what am I doing?
9 8-ounce glasses, right?
9 8-ounce glasses.
Yeah, or 8, possibly. So how do we actually are able to drink that much water? Well, the key is this. Most of us are dehydrated. We're definitely probably, if you get thirsty, then you know that you are really dehydrated. So here's my glass. This is probably 16 ounces. I haven't measured it, but I even have a little thing here, and it says stay young, drink water. And I have little checks that I can put in the boxes here when I finish a cup. So based on 8 ounces, cup being 8 ounces. So I may be drinking 6 of those a day. So 6 8-ounce glasses or cups of water a day.
So
now you build yourself up to that. You don't start and just say, well, I've got to meet that quota, so therefore I'm just going to start downing water, because your body's not used to that and it's too hard on you. And sipping it is important. Don't be saying, oh, I haven't, I've got to have a cup now so I fill the amount, my daily quota for the day, and you down it. That's the worst thing you can do, because that's really hard on you.
I thought I was supposed to drink 9 liters.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why that's hilarious.
You're such a good student, though.
It's
that
really,
you were so willing to do that.
It's really only about 3 liters, which I had by like 10 in the morning. So this makes total sense, because I went home and I told my wife, I'm just like, I am having a terror. Like, I got a headache. I've drank so much water, but I was wrong.
Yes.
As per usual.
Okay, so yeah, it is half of your body weight, right? I'm just trying to find my formula for you, but it is, let me find it here. What week were we on when we talked about water, Daniel?
I believe it was week 5.
Week 5?
Week 4 or 5.
Okay, because I want to give you the right information.
I remember, because the next day I overdosed on water.
Week 5. No, that was the colon. There was rebounding.
Or maybe
so
week
that was
4
our
then.
Lymphatic system. Yeah, so maybe it was week 4. And we talked about our flax seeds, the magnesium, the rest. Okay. Yes, water. So what does water do? It flushes out the toxins, right? So that's why we need and it moisturizes your skin, so it helps you to look younger as well. And mild dehydration, even mildly being dehydrated, affects your mood as well and your brain function. So how much? The minimum is 1/2 ounce per pound of body weight. And the upper limit is 1 ounce. Therefore, if you're 150 pounds, that is half of 150 is 75 ounces of water. And if you take 75 ounces and you put it into, divide it by 8, right? 8 cups, which is 8-ounce cups of water. That gives you 9 cups of water a day. 9 8-ounce cups. So you were talking liters, which is what? How many liters would that be? 9
This is
cups.
getting progressively more embarrassing, Dyanne, because I'm looking at my calculator here, and I was responsible to drink 2.8 liters of water, which honestly, like, I was done early. So this is good. Yeah.
So,
I probably
okay.
drank 5 liters too much water that day.
Okay, so there you go. So see, if we don't do the math right, that's why I wanted to check my notes to make sure.
I went to bed. I was like, I got to talk to Dyanne because there's something. She's like, I got this headache. I'm freezing. I'm drinking all this water. Oh,
you can actually, and you're alive, so that's good. But if you drink too much water and it's excessive, you take out the sodium from your body, right? So that can be harmful to you because it's just too much. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Next question, everyone.
But you're still here, so that's good.
Yes.
And now you know the right formula. But the point is this. So can you drink the amount that's your 2 point whatever liters? Is that doable?
About 3 liters would be no problem. I was done that before lunch.
Well, there you go. Yeah. But you don't want to do that. Also, Daniel, you don't want to do that before lunch. You want that to be throughout the whole day. So you probably want to stop by about 7 at night. Otherwise, you'll be getting up through the night. But you don't want to say, well, I've done it all by morning. I think it was last week, I had a slide from a friend who had a big water jug, and it was really fun because it was a big jug and it had all these lines marked, and it said, good morning, get started. And then the next line said, as the water level was going down by him drinking it, it said, you're on your way. And then, it just kept saying these little sayings, marking so many ounces till he got to the bottom of the jug, and then said, you're almost there. And then, you've made it for the day. So I thought that was a really cute little jug, actually big jug, but it just shows you that you want it to be throughout the period of time that you wake up till maybe dinner time. So not done by morning, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad we had that little discussion. Anybody else with questions, comments?
Yeah. Can you get flavoring that's nice for the water? I hate the taste of water, and I hate lemon and lime, so that's definitely out too.
Yeah, that's you know what? Hi, Linda, by the way. You're such a great fan. You're here every week. So I didn't see you today on my little pictures, but nice to know that you're here.
I was here.
Good. Yeah, there is. You want to watch that it's not, that there's not, the sugar in it. Mm-hmm. So I'll do a little research on that. What would be a healthy thing to add to it? Because what about if you put a little bit of the cranberry juice in, just a tiny bit, like even a 1/2 ounce, and it would just give it a little flavor, and you'd be getting a healthy. Yeah, something like that.
I've been using the Mio that you can buy, but I don't know how much sugar or stuff is in it. And I didn't know if in the health food store they had something that would be better than that.
Yeah, you can check when you go to the health stores. As I mentioned, a lot of the workers there are trained nutritionalists, and so they're really quite good with suggestions and knowing even what's in their products. So sure, if you need something like that to get the water down, the other thing that you can do is put in an herbal tea. So you have.
I hate those. I hate herbal teas.
You didn't find any that you like? Anything?
No. I've tried a lot. I had a friend who used to drink all sorts of them, and I would try them whenever he had one, and I just couldn't stand them. I like regular black tea and that's it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Well, you don't want to be drinking 8 cups of that.
Yeah.
And what flavors do you like? What do you like in terms
Oh,
of
raspberry,
flavors?
strawberry, blueberry, that's
Well,
just
then why
regular.
don't you take, this is what I used to do. I took organic raspberries and blueberries or blackberries.
Hmm.
And then I had this wonderful container, and I still have it, but maybe I'll bring it out for next week. So it was a water glass, and it had a little partition at the bottom or partway
Uh-huh.
in it, and because it unscrewed from that direction as well. So I would put the raspberries and the blackberries in the bottom,
Uh-huh.
and then there's like a little plastic screen, and then you fill it with water. And then when you drink the water, you're not getting a chunk of berry in your mouth, but the berries themselves are releasing flavor into the water.
Oh,
And so you're drinking, you're flavoring the water with something that you like,
yeah.
and you're not going to, end up with a chunk of it unless that, if I put some in here with my straw, I could just put the berries right in the bottom, and my straw,
Yeah.
as long as it's not right in front of it, I could be drinking
Hmm.
it. So there's
Yeah.
a great idea for you.
Okay. I'll look into that. Thanks.
Jennifer does mention that, yeah, water bottles, they do have like, we have a few of them where they have like either their own balls or place to infuse fruit into it. That's
Right.
pretty common now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are that. Hey, something for Santa to bring in your stocking. A new water bottle with a separate little area for your fruit to float in. Yeah. Great. Great. So yeah, that would be, I think, a great alternative for you, as opposed to adding some kind of crystals or things that you buy on the store. I always try to, let's try to find the whole fruit, the real deal, the real piece of fruit, the real vegetable, the real greens, rather than things that are processed or packaged and processed. Any other questions, comments? Okay, great. Well, it's been another great session. Thanks for joining. And remember, the journey is one step at a time. So even this week, if you can make one change in what you eat, or what you replace, or what you add that's healthier for you, then you've made a difference. I think when we try to do everything at once, we can become really overwhelmed, and we don't need to be overwhelmed. We want to have a positive attitude in life in general, so we need to have a positive attitude when we're coming to eating and food choices. So that one step leads to another. And if you fall back and you're saying, well, I'm really great, I'm starting to exercise now and I'm eating healthier, and then you have the day where you don't stop that journey, because we all sometimes mess up, or we make the wrong food choices, but you can get back onto it. So it's not about being perfect, it's just about mindfulness and trying your best and sticking with it. And the fact that you showed up today speaks a lot. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week. We have 2 sessions left, so we'll see you next Monday. Have a great week.
Thank you, Dyanne. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Bye, all.
Thank you. Bye now.